4 AB braking equipment, 55203 TM, maintenance of a railway car, Chapter 8, Section 4 AB freight brake equipment, 810 general. In 1926, Association American Railroads, in cooperation with the Interstate Commission, integrated in a series of tests of various type of air brake equipment of the freight train brakes and racks that tested or were followed by the road test. These resulted in adoption of improved freight brakes and have been given in the designation AB. Additional equipment known as the available includes AB1B brake equipment for high-speed freight and passenger service, AB412 for braking equipment, heavy freight cars, AB automatic empty loading and braking equipment, usually generally high-capacity gondola and hopper cars operating primarily in a coal or ore service, whether operated empty or fully loaded. The performance and maintenance of AB412 and AB automatically empty load and brakes are practically the same as those AB brakes with a minor variation. There will be AB and AB1B brakes will be covered in the following paragraphs. 811 description. The AB freight brakes. AB freight brakes was developed to keep the pace with the major improvements. All the good operation features of the standard brake have been retained. Other variable ones have been added. And AB brake has been adopted for the Association of American Railways as a standard freight brake, following some of the approved features of the AB brake that were not included in the K brake feature. Improved the quick service in the 3 stages of the quick service provided by the prompt positive brake application on all cars of long modern trains. 2. The improved releases in case of excessive slide valve and friction and may delay release or cause of struck brake and release of ensuring valve, automatically releasing the brake and by reducing auxiliary pressure. 3. Rapid recharge. A rapid increase of the brake pipe is obtained of the release and started using emergency reserve, which remains fully charged during the service application. 4. Improved emergency, undesired emergency during the application, eliminated separation parts controlled by the service in emergency. And 5. Emergency brake cylinder pressure. Emergency brake cylinder pressure approximately 20% higher than the obtainable in full service braking application. 6. The speed emergency through the train approximately 40% faster than the former or standard freight brake. 7. Development of the emergency pressure cylinder pressure steps and controlled prevents and damaging shock. Emergency pressure is available at all times. 8. The AB1B freight brake. The AB1B freight brake is the same as standard AB brake equipment within the additional filling of the piece of the selector valve portion within an applied brake pipe braking and the emergency portion of the AB1 the AB control valve. The service emergency portion is standard. All its respects to the AB control valve, but the stud handling of the filling of the pieces of emergency position of the piping backing and longer in the standard. 812 AB and AB1B brake system components. Components of the AB and AB1B brake systems are same unless otherwise noted. AB control valve using the AB brakes. The AB valve 8 in figure 8-9 consists of the following components: the A brake pipe, a pertinent mounted car containing the pipe connection so that no pipes can be disconnected to remove the valve portion. It also contains removable hair strainer to keep the foreign matter out of the valve portions. The serve as a portion which controls the change in the reserve and its service the application and release of the brakes. And 3. The emergency portion which controls the quick action feature high brake cylinder pressure and the accelerated emergency release function. AB1B control valve is used in the AB1B brakes. The AB1B brake control valve is the same as the standard AB control valve except for the additional filling of the selector valve portion, the whole longer emergency portion with bolting studs and filling pieces and bolted in between the piping bracket and the emergency portion. A safety valve is provided on a selector valve portion which limits the brake cylinder pressure from the server of the braking application, but the closed off from this brake cylinder in an emergency. The proper setting off of the safety valve is 60 pounds. The connection is made from the single line of the filling piece automatically adjusts the selector valve and the passenger of the freight train. When the operated passenger, the single pressure automatically adjusts to the selector valve and provide a directed building of the emergency brake cylinder pressure. When operated in the freight service, the absence of signal line pressure automatically adjusts the selector valve and to provide standard 3-stage development in emergency brake cylinder. 5. The in-service brake operation equipment is in the same as the AB equipment. A quick service when equipped with the A2A quick service valve ensure proper brake reduction brake positive brake application. D. The brake cylinder. The brake cylinder are equipped with a piston and not connected with the brake levers, brake rods, brake shoes, but when the piston is forced outwards of the air pressure, the forces are transmitted through the rods and applying the brake shoes to the wheels and releasing the spring forces to the release of the position of the air brakes. Air pressure is exhaust to the open end of the cylinder. Packing cup pressures against the cylinder walls and pressures of it prevents the escape of air past the piston. 2. The periodic cleaning and oil testing of the brake cylinder is performed without removing the cylinder from the car. E. The combined auxiliary emergency reservoir. The auxiliary and the emergency reservoir are combined into one unit of the figure 812, where divided into two compartments. One serves as storage and auxiliary air pressure, and the other for a emergency air pressure letters that can cast and projection from the separation plate of the reservoirs, and the letter A auxiliary one side indicating the auxiliary reserve, and the letter emergency on the other side of the indicating the emergency reserve. Here you see your AB valve showing operating portions of the brake pipe with extension cutaway strainer. You have your brake pipe, your brake cylinder, your retainer, your emergency reserve, and your auxiliary reserve. Your two reserves up top, your brake cylinder, your retainer, and your brake pipe. And this is what it cut through system. Auxiliary extra view of the A22 brake reserve. Automatic air operated slack adjuster when equipped. When the automatic slack adjuster is a device maintaining a uniform running standard position. 2. The piston travel when over the which the adjuster set are automatically shortened by a cylinder having a piston of Pauling gauge and turns a ratchet nut. The adjusted cylinder takes the air brake cylinder through the small pipe which is tapped to the brake cylinder at the distance from the pressure of the head auxiliary approximately equally to the desired position. When the position travels allows the piston to packing up to the pass of the portion of the adjuster pipe of the connected to the cylinder. The brake cylinder pressure is admitted to the adjuster, which moves in the position of the fully stroke cylinder compressed spring, moving the pawl over the two teeth of the ratchet nut. 4. The air brake of the release of the air brake of the brake cylinder position to the back pass of the pour air in the adjusting cylinder exhaust non-pressure end of the brake cylinder permanent position spring and the adjusting cylinder to force the adjuster position piston by means of the pawl makes 1/8 of an inch turn of the ratchet of the nut. Combine the dirt and collector and the cutout cock. Combine dirt collector and cutout cock figure 813 is connected in the brake pipe. Leading in the brake pipe prevents the pipe scale and cylinder and other foreign matters from entering the AB valve. The umbrella-shaped ejector valve retaining the dirt chamber collected and accumulated during the air brake operation. To remove the dirt chamber from cleaning, remove the two nuts. Secure the chamber from the collector body and brake pipe T. The brake pipe T in figure 814 connects the brake pipe to the branch pipe to the brake pipe. It prevents excessive moisture from the deposited brake pipe from passing from the brake pipe thence to the AB valve. I. The retaining valve. The retaining valve is 3-position manually operated pressure retained exhaust valve. The valve is usually fastened to the end of the near brake shaft. The handle position plainly identified as follows. EX is the direct exhaust handling point downward. HP is the high pressure retaining handle between 45 and clockwise from the EX position. CSD the slow direction exhaust handle 135 through 1500 collection 1500 clockwise direct exhaust position. 2. The retaining valve is calibrated and regulate the air pressure as follows. Within the handle of the direct exhaust brake cylinder pressure exhausts freely to the atmosphere. Within the handle of the high pressure retaining the retards exhaust for the air brake cylinder down to a determined pressure and then retains the amount approximately 6 to 22 psi's. With the handle of the slow direct exhaust the brake cylinder pressure is slowly to the atmosphere. The calibration retaining the valve is permanent to blow down 435 cubic inches reserved in the volume in the initial charge 80 psi pressure in the end of each 3 positions of the time specified position. 8. Direct exhaust high pressure retaining slow direction exhaust direct exhaust 7 to 10 psi time in seconds less than 3 seconds. High pressure retaining in 60 to 40 psi in 33 to 43 seconds. Slow direct exhaust 60 to 40 psi in 17 to 22 seconds. Here's your assembly to the view of the ABA brake cylinder valve lever brackets. And 1, you have your lever bracket. 2, you have your fitting and anchor ring. 3, you have your fitter and 4, you have your bracket hole and 2 nuts. 5, fill-in cap screw. 6, your fill-in gasket. 7, a straight fitting back. 8, a piston cup. 9, pressure headed gasket. 10, pressure headed bolt and nut. 11, lever bracket pressure head. 12, piston hollow rod. 13, release spring. 14, cylinder body. 15, non-pressure headed bolt. 16, non-pressure headed bolt or head gasket. 17, strainer. 18, strainer retaining ring. 19, hollow rod container. 20, special lock washer. 21, rod collar set screw. 22, hollow red packing. 23, special spring seating. Section 24, non-pressure head. Note, prior to 1967, some of the care were equipped with a 2-piston retaining valve to control braking cylinder pressure with a handle down piston to the brake cylinder exhaust. Freely atmosphere handle of up position exhaust in the air and brake cylinder down to the predetermined pressure to retain the amounts. Angle cocks. The angle cocks with the housing connection and the coupling connected to the end of the brake that provided the flexible connection between the brake pipes and adjoining cars. Date 3/13, cleaning and testing ABB brakes and the repair track requirements of the complete braking equipment must be cleaned, oil tested, and stenciled cots as follows. This expiration date of 48 months indicating the stencil marking on the cot are making the COTNS, the cleaned oil and testing stenciled. Attention, expiration 45 months of the car is on repair and track regardless of whether or not it needs other repairs. 40, the air brake inoperative due to failure to pressure a single car tested device to go test an unusual inoperative condition due to renewal of pipes and fittings including flanging compression types, duplex release valve portion, vent protection, brake reservoir, combined dirt collector, cutout cock, brake type, pipe T, retaining valve are all parts of these items. 3, when stencil markings are required, missing incorrect or distant ink, and B, cleaning to secure required external clearance, reducing cleaning time to the minimum of the following tests. Following tools, equipment is required by the braking team personnel performing their respective functions. A is an open-ended S wrench of the 3/4 of an inch and 3/16 of an inch opening of the dirt collector brake pipe P and the cutout and the combination of socket wrench set for AB valve portions of flange fittings, brake cylinders, non-pressure heads. This is a set consists of 1 ratchet type handle to the extension of 1 universal joint. The 5 sockets of the sizes 9/16 of an inch, 5/8 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, 13th and 1.6 of an inch, and 1 inch 13/16 of an inch socket is required only for the AB empty and loaded change over valve. Straight nut wrenches for the brake pipe strainer nuts and used to handle an extension listed in B above. Here's an 8.812 combined auxiliary emergency reserves. You start from the stop left hand corner, single supporting lug, mounting bracket, nut 3, lock nut 3, bolt 3, emergency reserve airline flange union connection nutter 2, separation plate connection bottom bolt nuts, emergency reserve, auxiliary reserve double support lug not shown, and auxiliary reserve airline. Blowing nozzle with a suitable 1/4 of an inch pipe nipple nozzle for the blower's hose. Ship in covers the vent protector plug as per manufacturer standards. The protection of the AB valve is in transit. Suitable covers the containers to protect AB brake cylinder pistons, hollow rod, and non-pressure headed assemblies from the dirt damage should be provided with transportation and assembly into the and from the car. Grease can arranged by both grease and brush can be protected as dirt against dirt. Record the car number, owner, and the last cleaning date, and all cleaning marks must be scraped off with paint and over with a quick drying black paint. Enclosed in branch pipe and drained with out of air reservoir, emergency reservoir, brake cylinder. Remove the cup of the dirt collector. Leave it out until the clean valve portion applied. Disconnect the release valve and lever and leave it attached to the release rod. 4. Blow out any dirt out of the out of the yard of the airline. Supply the hose of the connection. If the brake tests are best to be made by men who clean the air brake coupling and single car tester of the yard line, the car breaker pipe and the B end of the car. Otherwise, couple the air line supply directly to the car brake. Charge from the brake pipe. Leave the air supply connected to the blow out of the brake opening angle cock at the end of the A end of the dummy coupling and the blower house at the A end of the car, leaving both angle cocks open to the branch pipe to blow dirt from the branch pipe and close it. Scrape and wipe and blow off all dirt adjacent to the gasket and the pipe brake and the valve portion using the blow or hose. Blow off all the loose dirt off the AB valve and pipe bracket, hopper, slopes, under frames, and otherwise getting the AB valve portions of the AB and then portions of the AB removed from the clean portions of the brake applied. Note that while the operation portions of the AB control valve, the parts thereof must be dismantled. Any parts of them removed or replaced of the car. All cleaning, relubrication, all valve proportions must be accomplished in completion. Competent air brake mechanic and well-lighted location. D. Remove AB valve portion. Disconnect the air brake cylinder. Release the rod. Remove these 3 nuts mounting studs and slide the valve portion in the studs. 2. Remove the brake pipe strainer and place it in the shipping cover and immediately apply to the cover service portion, tightening the holding nuts, and then the shipping cover must be applied to prevent the entrance dirt, water damage, internal parts of the transporting the valve of the air brake shop. Recondition in part A15. Remove the AB valve emergency portion. 1. The brake vent protection plug of the valve, opening the vent protector plug, removing the 3 nuts of the mounting studs or slides of the portion of the stuff. 3. Move the position of the release position immediately to apply to the shipping position, tightening the holding. The cover must be applied to preventing the entrance to the dirt, water, and damage of internal parts with transporting the valve portion of the air brake shop. Reduction at 8:15. Remove the retaining valve, unscrew the exhaust pipe of the elbow, uncouple the inlet air line on unit 2. Remove the nuts and bolts, unsecure the valve to the car end of the remove of the valve strainer. 3. The place the strainer the spare the shipping cover. Apply to the shipping cover, tightening the holders to transport the valve of the air brake shop. Recondition after cleaning of dirt, removing the nuts and bolts and secure the dirt chamber and collector bodies. Removing the chamber of the collector body, separated the gas and check the valve of the collector. Thoroughly clean the chamber and check the valve of all dirt and other foreign matters. Do not replace any chamber and check the valve until the clean. And G. Below. When replacing the check valve and chamber, use the new gasket and chamber body. G. Cleaning the pipe and bracket associated parts using scrapers and suitable loosening parts. Dirting in the brake pipe passage, strainer and chamber the connection passages of the brake pipe. 2. Use the blow hose, the suitable nose, and blow loose of the scale of the pipe bracket associated with blow dirt of the face of the bracket, strainer chambers, and the brake pipe passages toward the opening dirt collector. Here on the top we see a common dirt collector, the cutout cock. Here's the dirt collector, here's the openage and the common, and this is a branch pipe T for the AB, and here's a sectional view of a retaining valve. You have your brass choke, your chokes, your port, and your cap nuts, new removable valve springs. Install the reconditioned surface portion. Apply to the new 3-way type of clean and fill into the strainer and cavity in the pipe brake. Install reconditioned surface portion. Apply a new throwaway type or clean felt hair type strainer of the cavity into the pipe of the bracket. Use the wooden mandrel to the guide. The strainer in the portion. Make sure that the inner engagement sealing bed is inserted properly and all nuts and threads will be visible. Apply the holding in a nut and tightening in them firmly. 2. When the surface portion of the gasket places the pipe in the bracket fully seated in a locking position, remove the shipping cover of the cleaning surfaces. When the position releases the portion, immediately mount the portion, sliding slowly, carefully of the studs against the pipe bracket, coating the studs threads of the graphite grease, tightening the whole nuts evenly and then firmly connecting the brake cylinder. Release slides to the release valve handles. Install reconditioning emergency portion gasket and pipe bracket fully seated and locking projection, removing the shipping coverage of the cleanage emergency portion, examining the emergency piston to ensure its release position. Damage to the piston damage to the piston and the bush will result in the piston is out of the bush and portion is mounted on the pipe bracket to the portion and sliding slightly to the carefully on the studs against the pipe bracket. Cut out the studs threads of the graphite grease, tightening the hole the nuts and evenly firmly. 3. Remove the vent protector plug and apply the securely tightened service vent protector, cleaning emergency portion. J. Install the recondition retaining valve. Install retaining valve reverse removal, making sure that the secure fasten the car in the vertical position. The handle freely in paragraph 824. Cleaning lubricates frame mounted frame cylinders. Disconnect brake lever removal. Brake cylinder push rods to avoid personal injury. Examine the hollow rod cylinder collar or the end of the piston. Determine it will hold securely. 3. The remove of the pressure head bolts and then remove the piston and release spring non-pressure head of the complete. 4. Applying the shipping parts of the non-pressure head of the piston, packing of the lubricating swab and other parts of the via damage and contacting transportation assembly for the air brake shop of the reconditioning. Paragraph 812. The non-pressure head of the gasket is in suitable condition to provide tightening seals. Replacement is not required. And damage removed gasket, cleaning its seat and cleaning the brake cylinder and applying the new gasket. 6. Thoroughly clean the brake cylinder by first using the dull rounded scraper and remove all the grease and dirt and using the solvent necessary. If to soften the gummy deposits, remove either rust spots and wipe dry with a clean with a clean and with a lint-free cloth. Do not use cotton waste. Do not use a cotton waste. After a cylinder, it should be covered in protected dust unless the piston non-pressure headed assembly is immediately installed. Lubricating must be applied to the cylinder. Must be just before it's clean, lubricated and piston applied using suitable brush lubricated coat. Suitable brush coat the cylinder through the thinner layer of the brake cylinder lubricant and non-pressure head gasket and correct with Porsche position of the recessed cylinder flange. Remove the shipping cover of the piston. Assembly coat of the cylinder and the bearing bits of the packaging cup will fill the grease cover over the swab retainer of the brake cylinder. Lubricate. Insert the piston assembly in the brake cylinder. Follow stand at the piston assembly on the end of the non-pressure end of the down with the position enter into the cylinder. Slow the air raise the non-pressure head of the until the upper position of the packing cup and engage the cylinder wall. Shove the piston back in the cylinder. C. Apply the non-pressure head bolt to the tighten evenly and secure. They apply the push rod connecting the brake lever with the brake lever and secure the cotter. Clean and lubricate truck mounted brake cylinders. 1. Remove the cotter pin, anchor pin, and the position rod. Release from the rod and yoke. 2. Remove the cap screws and secure the airline adapter cylinders. Separate the adapters in the cylinder. Remove the gasket. Remove the lock nuts and the nuts and bolts as they secure the brake cylinder and the truck bolster. Remove the cylinder assembly to transfer the assembly to the air brake shop. Reconditioning paragraph 818 and using new gaskets, installing in the brake cylinder and reverse removal. And B. M. The inspection of brake rigging. Check all brake levers and rods to ensure that they are conform in standard dimensions, showing a metal badge and plate attached. And wrong brake levers, brake rods should be replaced in standard in car, except for where brake levers on cars are on the same ratio and dimension of the badge plate. 2. The inspection of the bottom of the brake and the beam safely and support repair and renew the necessary brake beams and brake hangers and pins and brake kits may be checked in accordance with the condemning of the limit shown below and renewed and repaired necessary. A. The brake beams, hangers, and around in the other sections in retrospective, other original diameter, thickness, and vertical thickness of top and bottom portion of the worn reduced to 3/4 of an inch less than measured vertically through the corners measured on the radius. B. The brake beam hanger pins and bolts originally 1 inch of the diameter. If the worn 7/8 of the inch or less, brake beam hanger pin bolts and brake connection pins originally in excess of 1 inch of the diameter. If the worn to 1 inches or less is at any point. D. The brake beam should be renewed and retention rods are cut out and worn 5/16 of an inch more below the diameter where braking heads are worn so what the vertical thickness of the top portion of the top eye of the 7/8 of an inch center of the upper hanger and openings are worn as soon as the opening and measured vertically. Hanger beams of 1.5 inch most distinct between upper and lower brake shoe lugs on exceeding 2.25 inch measure face heads, and one more than twos are broken and worn off to the extent of no portion of contact the brake shoe. When the brake shoes apply the brake hanger bracket cast integral to truck side bolster having point pinhole the obligation of the depth 1.5 original diameter is worn along with number no more than 40% should be restored original diameter brushing and using welding in hanger. The bracket is not in cast integral with the truck side of the bolster. It should be repaired and renewed, and within the pinhole is worn to the extent as specified above. Note that the wear limits prescribed are primarily intended to apply to the inspection of the most cars in shops or repair tracks or such cannot be measured and gauged in degree of accuracy. Assembly determination condemning the limits of these parts of the train yards must have therefore be left out of the exercise of the judgment of the train yard inspector. To the brake shoes and braking missing, worn, damaged shoes. Brake shoes should be renewed in the following defects: AAR standard type of 1.5 inches or less wear, metal composition type of 3 1/8 of an inch or less thickness in the lining and the backing plate, broken and parting, missing, wearing metal, broken through, sliding or reinforced back, and clean tested and adjusted air operated automatic slack adjuster. Remove the cap screws, secure the air line adapter and adjust the cylinder, separate from the cylinder and remove the gasket. Figure 8.3 and 2. Remove the 3 casting nuts but lock washer of the secure engine and a portion of the adjuster body to the engine portion of the off of the adjuster screw and transfer it to the air brake shop of the reduction. Remove the crosshead edge up to the screw from the adjuster body. Clean the screw threads thoroughly with the wire brush. Do not lubricate the adjuster screw. Do not strut and turn free on the screw if the threads of the screw are excessively worn. Replace the serviceability parts. Blow out of the slack adjuster airline and ensure the brake cylinder port is open. Assembly the adjusted screw crosshead of the reconditioned engine man portion is reverse and removable. Use the new gasket, engine portion, adjuster body, and airline adapter. Adjusted cylinder at 5. The adjusted brake cylinder piston travel as follows. When I apply the brake cylinder full service application, brake thus applied, measuring the recorded piston travel, check all the levers, rods, and proper clearance, inspecting the brake cylinder slack adjuster connection is leakage. Replace for the brake shoes. See the slack adjuster has operated, adjusted has been not operated, shot. Use the clearance of 3/8 of an inch, not adjustment necessary if shoes exceed 3/8 of an inch. Adjustment rigging manually if the slack adjuster operates and piston travel exceed excessive adjustment brake rigging manually. 1 swivel trucks of the brake cylinder more than trucks operated in the same cylinder, adjusting the standing position travel to 7.5 inches. Whether the cylinder operates the brakes on one truck only and one units equipped with the truck mounted brake cylinders. Adjust the piston travel for the type of brake cylinder. Inspect the air brake hose. Carefully inspect the air brake hose. Renews it if found defective in the following wearing limits: burst hose is leak discernible without soap suds. 3. Abrasion from the outer covering of the indicates the damage of the deterioration of the first layer of the duct, and longitude spiral cracks showing damage deterioration first layer of the duct. Soft spots indicating that the fabric has been broken down. Loose defective fittings of the either end of the both ends of the hose of 7 end of the 3/8 of an inch more than the shoulder of the either nippling of the couple. Here in figure 8 to 16 you see a hose with a hole cut out of the cover of the fabric in good condition. An outer hole with a hole in the outer cover of the fabric in good condition. A hose with a longitude crack and a hose with a soft bend. 8. You a porous hose and determined in soap sud test. Split hose, missing hose. 11. Over 8 years old, determined the date of the hose obliterated at the time of cleaning, oiling, testing stencil, and periodic attention. Dated in testing and stencil of air brakes. Performance code of testing after all works completed below all supply lines with the testing device attached, and performance code of the test in accordance with the TM 55206 of appliance test stenciling. Scrape off the old stencil paint over the quick drying paint. Apply the stencil showing the month and the day, the year, the railroad part of the line, and reporting marks of initial shop and station in figure 819. In location letter does not present a clear view of the outside of the car stencil. It should be placed on the side of near the release valve handle. Do not stencil both reserve side and one side of the stencil is permitted. Only one side of the stencil. One is stencil permitted on the tanker cars when location of reserve and such a stencil when operated. The splinges stenciling located at the reserve side of the center sill between the balusters, closing the B end of the baluster and possible of the hopper cars and construction of the car will be permitted. The stencil lubricated and subside of the sill when nearing release and rods out application duplication markings and prohibited. Note the stencil markings must not be changed until all works that have been completed. 814 cleaning and testing AB1 and B brakes of the repair track. Cleaning and oil testing stenciling AB1 and B brakes is the same as that of an AB brake in 813 within the following additional instructions. Remove the filling pieces of the selector valve. Remove the emergency parachute in paragraph 813D and disconnect the air piping filling piece. 3. Slide the filling piece off the selector valve off the mounting studs and immediately apply the shipping cover to select the valve. Tighten the holder for not shipping the cover that apply to the prevention of entrance of dirt and water damage the internal of the ports of the transportation of the valve and air brake shop at the recondition 816. Report to the mark of the road initial shop at the station. Month of the date of the year, the end date of the tested, the release rod, and the date of the stencil on the side of the reserve shown on the side of the car adjacent to the release of the air rod reserve, the month, date, and the your end date, and month of date of in the year, your 1-inch stencil, your stencils, you have, these are 3 parts where you can date them at. Remove the remove A2A quick service valve 1 and clear the exterior valve through the all dirt and other foreign manner. Remove the nuts and mounting studs. For carefully slide the main mounting studs. Apply the shipping cover and transporting the valve air brake show from the reconditioning paragraph 817. Install the reconditioning filling pieces of the selector valve 1. While the filling the pieces are placed on the pipe jack and the fully seated locking projection, remove the shipping coverage and sliding piece on the mounting stud, making certain the snugly against the pipe bracket. And install the emergency parachute and specified in paragraph 813. Install recommendation A2 quick service valve 1 with the valve gasket in place of the pipe bracket, fully seated in lock position. Remove the shipping cover and slide valve in the mounting stud. 2. Cut out the threads of the graphite grease and tightening the holding evenly and firmly. Part break 815 shop maintenance of an AB control valve.